Hello, lovely ladies in Women Rising Above. How are you this morning? Whoop, there we are. I can see that I'm live straight away. Just busy setting up for our very first live training in the group. And you will see that I have named these trainings Business Growth Insights for the year. So we are starting off with a bunch of new stuff from the beginning of the year. Now, just bear with me for 2 seconds while I just set up. Please tell me that you can see and hear me okay. I would absolutely love to know that. I've been playing around with my Zoom for a little bit and I would love to know that my sound is okay and that you can hear me. Just let me know in the comments. I've got my comments up here. So lovely ladies, it is amazing to be with you, as I said, for the very first training in the group in the year. I really do sincerely hope that every single one of you has managed to have a really decent, restful and rejuvenating break over the holiday season. I know that I have. I came back to work last week, and last week was very much about a setup. Hello, Amanda. Hello, Annette. Lovely to have you watching me, joining us, not watching me, joining us all. Great to have you, and good. I'm glad to know that you can see and hear me. Yes, so I came back to work last week and it was very much of a setup week, getting ready. And, you know, now this week I feel like I'm really back into the swing of it. And, you know, I'm back doing what I love, which is part of this is coming to you ladies and doing these Tuesday business growth insights. I have to get used to saying that. So let me just share my screen with you, beautiful ones. And we're going to get on with today's training, which is all about manifesting your dream business. Now, I know that when I say the word manifesting, a lot of you just go, oh my God, that's a bit woo-woo, that's out there, that's spiritual. And yeah, to a point, it is. But I need to tell you from experience, particularly over, I would say, the last year, for me, is that it's yes, it is about the spiritual stuff, but it's also about the practical actions that you take. I have been studying with the amazing, one of the world's leading manifestation teachers. I've been studying with her very closely all last year and even more closely over the last 6 weeks. And one thing that has really stood out to me is that as much as manifesting, yes, it is spiritual. It is very much more about the practical actions, and it's less about sitting back and waiting for things to manifest or magically happen, or it's less about, let's say the word faith. Yes, it is important to have the faith, but it's less about that, and it's more about the actions that we take. So we're going to talk about today how you can manifest and the actions that you can take to manifest your dream business. And I have to say that just over the things that I have learned in the last year alone, I could talk for days on this topic. But this morning we've got 30 minutes. So I'm going to share just a few skills that I have put in place myself that are unequivocally working for me right now, and that I know that when you do these things too, they're going to work for you as well. So what we're going to look at today. So we are going to look at the 7 steps, which are setting clear intentions, placing your focus where it needs to be, understanding the decisions that you're making, saying goodbye to drama, making daily connections and actions, listening to your intuition, and always working on your mindset. These are the things we're going to dive a lot deeper into today. So the first one is setting clear intentions. Now, I know, again from experience, and the whole thing this morning is from my experience, what I've learned, both by putting things into action as well as from Sarah herself. So without intention, any actions that we do take are irrelevant, because what we end up doing, and I have been extremely guilty of this in the past, what we end up doing is just doing for the sake of doing without any understanding of why we are doing it, right? Because there's no clear intention behind, or there's no clear why as to why we're doing it. Now, to use an example, my very first podcast. So I had a podcast, and I started it back in 2019, and it was called the Purple Warriors Podcast. And while I loved it, and it was a really, in a sense, it was a really powerful podcast, I started it without a clear intention of why I was doing it. I kind of knew, like, I knew who I wanted to help. You know, it was called the Purple Warriors Podcast. It was all about helping ladies who had survived domestic violence and family violence, and encouraging them. So I had that intention, but why was I starting a podcast in the first place? And really, my thought pattern behind it was because I saw it as that's what everybody else was doing, but I didn't have a clear personal intention as to why I was doing this podcast. And that confusion actually came into it. You know, now when I listen back to, and I watch the podcast evolving over the I think it ran for almost a year. I watch it evolving over the year that it ran for. The confusion in it was evident, right? Because there wasn't a clear intention behind it. However, let me say that I am starting another podcast this year, another exciting thing that's happening in 2022, and it's called Building Business Confidence, right? So with this one, I have a clear intention behind why I am, A, why I am releasing this podcast, and B, what I want to do with it, like, you know, who I want to help, what I want to do with it, where I want it to lead. So it's very, very intentional in what I'm doing, right? So when we have our clear intentions, it actually gives us direction, and it leads into direction, right? So with my podcast, I didn't really have that intention, so I didn't have direction in the first one. This one, when I went to set it up, and I set it up yesterday, I was very intentional, and the direction for the podcast itself just became really, really easy. So with intention, things like, this is where things like vision boards, you know, and setting annual goals and New Year's resolutions, whatever you want to call them, this is where they really come in, let's say handy, but they're really powerful. It's a really powerful ways to set your intentions. I know that I have my vision board every year. I do a vision board, and if you want to see the vision board that I have done this year, go to my personal profile. And a couple of days ago, I finally finished it. I think it was 7 days into the year. There's a little bit of perfectionism going on there, but I finally finished it, and I'm so happy with it. It actually sits up above my computer, so I look at it every single day, and I'm reminded of the intentions that I have for the year to come. So once you get clear on understanding what your intentions are, right, it helps get you clear on the why you want to do these things, and why you're actually either going to do them or doing these things in your life, right? When you have that clear intention, when you're understanding your why, the rest actually comes quite naturally. And this is actually what happened to me yesterday. So as I said, I started doing this podcast yesterday, and it literally in 3.5 hours, I had set up the podcast. I'd done my the graphics, the cover for it. I had recorded and edited my first episode, and you know, there's a little bit more to do today, and hopefully I'll be releasing it either later today or tomorrow, the first episode. But with my first podcast, doing that would have taken me hours, right? And I mean, like, I would have done it over a week's period. Yesterday, I did it in an afternoon. Why? Because I was clear on my intention. I was really clear on my why I was doing it. And it's helped me manifest that into my life. So really get clear on your intentions, and that will help you bring in good results. It will help you manifest good results. So now that you're getting clear on your intention, think about now where your focus is, and is it where it should be? Is it in the right place, or is it all over the place? That's a really important question to ask yourself. There is something, and you've probably heard this saying before, something called shiny object syndrome. And I am massively guilty in the past of having shiny object syndrome, where you kind of follow the latest fad, or you follow the bouncing ball, and you're like, oh, I'll have a look at that, I'll have a look at that, I'll have a look at that. And to be honest, even last week, I had to I had to kind of rein in my shiny object syndrome, and I had to place my focus back where it needed to be. So when we have intentions and when we have the dreams, it's really it's easy to want to do everything at once, right? When we create those vision boards, it's good morning, beautiful Lucia, lovely to have you joining me, gorgeous. When we create those things like those vision boards, like I said, mine sits up above me all the time, and it's easy. It would be really easy for me to go, okay, so I want to do this all at once. I want to have this all now. I want to manifest all this into my life at once. But the thing that I've learned is that, as it says, focus. Follow one course until successful. Focus on one thing, one area at a time. And it actually happens to manifest things into your life, to bring them into and to allow them to happen. When you focus on one thing at a time, it actually things happen quicker. You would be surprised. Things happen quicker when you focus on that one course of action. So when I made the decision, right, to hire a business coach, and I finally knew that was, where I had to place my focus, and I knew that I needed to get rid of that shiny object syndrome. I had a choice, right? No, I'm going to talk about that in a minute. So when I was a little bit confused, right? It sounds like I'm still confused now, but I'm not. I was confused and I was indecisive about the course of action that I needed to follow when I wanted, to hire a business coach. And what I ended up doing was rather than following all those different shiny objects, when I placed my focus on one specific course, and I will talk about that in a minute, is that helped me rein my focus in on that one thing that I needed to concentrate on, right? So I hired my business coach, who I've mentioned to you before, Francesca Moy, and rather than me going all the shiny objects and trying to get a little bit from that person, a little bit from that person, etc., I really honed in to that one course or to that one focus that she was teaching in particular. And every time my shiny object syndrome started to rear up again, and it did, and as I said, it still does, I need to bring my focus back into that one area, that one strategy that I'm following for my business. And by doing that, it is working. This is actually what I also help my ladies in the Heart and Soul Business Academy to do as well. So, I help teach them to yes, we teach definitely on their mindset, but to have that motivation and then focus on that one strategy to help grow your business. So it is really important that your focus is where it needs to be. Once you've set that intention, work out where your focus needs to be. And think about what decisions you're making. It's hard to stay focused when we're indecisive. Go back to why we are helping others. Yes, absolutely. Always go back to your why. Yes. So sometimes in business, when we first go into business, we think it is a wonderful thing and it's the exciting thing, and it is, because we get to make our own decisions. However, sometimes it can actually turn out to be the hardest thing, because we are the one, like, basically the buck stops with us, right? We're the ones making the decision for our business. So at first it might seem really easy, and then you might come back to, oh my Lord, it's a little bit, oh, good morning, Debbie. It's a little bit daunting that we get to make all these decisions. And this is where our inner critic, our itty bitty shitty committee, can start rearing up again, can't she, right? And we start to go to the what ifs. This is where our mind starts to go. Thoughts go everywhere. We start to go, oh my God, what if it doesn't work? You know, what if I don't have enough time? What if the money runs out? Or what if clients and the sales don't come? What if I fail? What if, you know, what if people see me as a failure? All those what ifs and all that, that itty bitty shitty thoughts come into our mind. And what do these thoughts do? They allow us to procrastinate, right? Or they keep us procrastinating. These thoughts hold us back, right? They're natural thoughts to have. And I can say I wouldn't think of one person who hasn't had thoughts like these. But there always comes a time when we need to make a decision one way or the other, right? And most of us will see it as kind of like a cut and dry right or wrong decision. However, I want to say that I believe that you can take whatever decision you make, you choose, right, and make it the right one for you. So there doesn't need to be a wrong decision, right? If it's never going to be a right decision, a wrong decision, if it feels right. Okay, because if it feels right, you're going to do whatever it takes to make it work for you. So again, going back to when I decided to hire a coach, I had a choice. I actually had a choice between hiring a free coach through government funding, or I had a choice whether I paid quite a large sum of money to Francesca to go and hire her as my business coach. And the decision, and I had to stop and I had to think, you know, what was the right decision? The bottom line was that this coach that I could have hired for free, I didn't resonate with her at all. But Francesca, the minute I got in front of her, the minute I started seeing her teaching, and I followed her for a little while, just like some of you are following me. I really resonated with what she was saying, and I resonated with her strategies, and I resonated with her personality. And in the end, it wasn't a tough decision to make. It was like, okay, so yes, I could choose to go and do it for free. And don't get me wrong, I know this person knows what she's doing, but I didn't resonate with her. Whereas Francesca, I did resonate with. And I have not for 1 second regretted having her as my business coach. It's actually been one of the best choices I have made for my business, because I was able to bring that focus back to where it needs to be. So think about the decisions you are making. Are you know, is your mind that confusing mess? Are you letting your itty bitty shitty committee get in there? Or, you know, are you really sitting back and logically thinking about it and then making that decision? And remember, no decision needs to be wrong. It just depends on what you do with it once you make it. Oh, Lucia, you'll love this, the Drama Llama. I see so many people creating their own drama by the words they speak and the actions or lack of actions that they take. And I want to say here that as a self-confessed drama queen, former drama queen, right? I'm not a drama queen anymore. I knew you'd like that, Lucia. As a self-confessed former drama queen, I can categorically say that when you let go of the drama, right, life does change very quickly. And it really does help bring a positivity into your life. Good morning, Trish. Lovely to have you joining me, gorgeous one. So with the Drama Llama, like I said, I'm a former drama queen. And a couple of years ago, there was a particular couple of people in my life, and I could hear, and I started to kind of step back and watch what they were doing in their life and watch what they were saying and the actions they were taking. And I could see that they were creating the drama in their lives. They were bringing in that drama llama. Like, they were feeding the drama llama. And the more they spoke it, the worse it got, right? And so, unfortunately, I needed to kind of create some distance between these two beautiful people, and I really do pray that, you know, eventually they will come back and we'll come back into each other's lives. But I remember saying to Craig, okay, so I want to declare this household a drama-free zone, right? He is quite a level-headed man to begin with, right? But I have a tendency to get caught up in the drama when it happens around me. So I just said to him, I just want to create a drama-free zone, you know, and I just want to be more level-headed. Let me be clear here, though. There's a difference between drama and emotions. Emotions are natural. When we go through certain things in life, we're obviously going to have certain emotions that go along with them. So there's a difference between drama and let's say significant emotions. Right? The drama comes when you stay in those emotions, right? As I said, I could talk about this forever. But it is, you know, if you find you have a lot of drama around you, first of all, think about, you know, what the words that you're saying, the actions that you're taking or maybe not taking, and just make that choice. You know, think about, is it a choice that you want to make? Do you want to have life changing in a positive way for you? I'll leave that one with you for a little while. It's a bit of a thinker, isn't it? So listen to your intention. When you think about the decisions that you're making, right, the reality is that, and I see this so often, that basically you already know. Your body and your mind are already telling you what you need to do, right? Your intuition is telling you what you need to do. And it's up to you whether you listen to it or not. This is something that I'm still learning, I'm still recognizing, and it's a really powerful thing that I'm moving through myself at the moment, is listening to my intuition, right? Let's go back to working with Francesca, and I'd hired her as my business coach. When my focus was placed on her strategies, it was really, my business was taking off, it was unreal. And then there came a time when I had the opportunity to do a certification course with her, which was certifying to teach her strategies as one of her certified coaches. And I remember talking to her, and I remember, you know, while we were having the discussion, it was my whole body was like, you know, those confusing thoughts, my itty bitty shitty committee started to get in there. I started to go, well, what if it doesn't work? Blah, 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 blah. What if? But my body, there was just I cannot explain it. Everything in my body was telling me that it was the right thing to do. And I remember hanging up from that phone call, and I couldn't get it out of my mind. And I think it was in the space of about an hour and a half, it might not have even been that long, between ending that phone call and saying to her, I think I messaged one of her team and just went, all right, I'm in. It was one of the scariest things that I've ever done. But it was the best thing that I could have ever done, because now I am one of her certified coaches, right? I am able to come and teach some of her strategies to you in the Heart and Soul Business Academy, which is exciting. So had I not listened to my intuition, I might not be coming to you live, doing this training right now. Had I not listened to my intuition, my business wouldn't have evolved like it has now. So your body is telling you what you need to do, whether it's something, you know, and I know a lot of people say, I say a lot, I feel it in my heart, or I kind of feel it in my solar plexus. I just feel it that it's the right thing to do, you know. Or people will say, I just know, right? If that's your intuition telling you, if you just know it's the right thing to do, follow it. That is a really great way to manifest your dream business. Now, make daily connections and actions. Now, I have been, as I said, I've been studying with the amazing Sarah Prout all of last year and very closely over the last 6 weeks. And something that, you know, as I mentioned before, these daily connections that I'm taking, yes, there's the spiritual side of it, absolutely, right? There's the spiritual side of it, like manifestation, connecting with nature and all of that stuff, and visualization. But there are the practical actions. And I'm learning, this is something that's really been a really deep learning for me in the last couple of weeks, is that it's very much about taking that practical action as well, right? When you do certain things and you take that daily action, I can tell you categorically that it absolutely does come back to you, right? I can't go into details at the moment, but even last week, this happened to me. I had a very, let's say, a big decision to make for my business, and my intuition and everything that I was learning, everything in my body was telling me, right? And I even kept getting confirmation signs all around me saying, you need to make this decision, right? You need to take the action and make the final decision. And that action that I needed to take was to send a message to say yes to something in particular, right? And I hung on to this for about 3 days. And my intuition, and every time it was just like, every time I saw a sign, or every time I thought about it, it was just like, Ali, you just need to do it. Anyway, I woke up one particular morning and it was like the turning point. It was like, all right, Ali, you are either going to do this or you're not. Or what do you need to do? So I listened to my intuition and I took the step and I sent this particular message. Later that day, only a couple of hours later, I made a huge sale in my business. So this is where I literally manifested, by taking that action, I literally manifested that success into my business. So like I said, and I'm going to keep repeating this, is it's so much more about the woo-woo, the out there, the spiritual stuff. It is the practicalities of it as well. Manifesting isn't just sitting back and thinking and waiting. It's about taking the action. So even though the actions that, you know, we take, when we do take them, as scary as they are, and as scary as that action that I took last week was, we get rewarded for them, right? Whether you want to call it God or the universe or a higher being, whoever you want to call it, as long as we have the right intention behind those decisions that we're making and behind the actions that we're taking, then we're going to get rewarded for them. And we are going to manifest. This is going to be part of the manifestation in your dream business. Always work on your mindset. I can't say this enough. You ladies know that, you know, the 3 pillars that I teach in are mindset, motivation, and marketing, right? And I cannot say this enough. Mindset, it is imperative that as business owners that we constantly working on our mindset. This might be a little bit more where the spiritual stuff comes into it, right? But we need to constantly remind ourselves that we need to do whatever it takes to achieve what we want to achieve, and also that believe in yourself, that you already have exactly what it takes to be a success in business, even if you're not believing it right now. This is where that daily action of always working on your mindset comes into play, right? And it will help your positive mindset come to fruition. It's also why it is really important that we have people around us. While we're part of the positive mindset is actually having support, having a support network around us, people to guide us, those people that we trust. And yes, if that means hiring a mentor, hiring a guide or a coach, then absolutely that's part of it. Having that, you know, that support system around you, having an accountability buddy, right? So it is input, daily action, taking that action, working on your mindset. Since working with Sarah, I have been taking that daily action, working on my mindset in many different ways. And it is showing. Everything is coming to fruition already. And we are what are we, the 11th? So we're not even 2 weeks into the year. And already things are coming to fruition that are on my vision board. So because I'm putting all these things into action, right? And I'm constantly working on my mindset. So I want to ask you, we just spoke about intuition. What's your intuition telling you right now? Is it time to focus, right? Is it time to make that connection? Is it time to take certain actions in your life that are right for you, right for your business, right for your growth? And it can be personal and business growth. It all works together, right? What's your intuition telling you that you need to do to start the year off with a bang? Right? Have you even got that plan of action to follow? Right? Think about that. And I would love to put an invitation out there to you ladies. If you want to have a chat to me about the Heart and Soul Business Academy and what it's about, how I can help you in your business. And we do, even in the academy, we go deeper into the areas of manifestation. No, it's not all spiritual. Like I said, what I teach in the academy is very much practical in the areas of mindset, motivation, and marketing. But I would love to have a talk to you about whether the Heart and Soul Business Academy is good for you. If you're interested in having a chat, just pop the word success in the comments below and I will be in touch with you. It would be really exciting to have a look at where you are at in business right now and yes, give you some advice and again, yes, talk about whether the Heart and Soul Business Academy is right for you. So my beautiful ladies, wow, my God, that that half hour went really quick this morning. This is so much fun, so much fun. Look, I'm just gonna, hang on, wait a minute, I'm gonna stop the share. Isn't it funny? You have a couple of weeks off and you're a little bit rusty on how Zoom works. Thank you for joining me this morning, ladies. It's been amazing to again bring you this business growth insights training. I will see you again next Tuesday for a live training. And don't forget, the Heart and Soul Business Academy starts next Tuesday, next week. So if you want to have a chat to me, pop the word success in the comments below and I'll be in touch with you. In the meantime, have a fantastic week. Keep connecting and manifesting your dream business, beautiful ones. And I will see you again next week. Mwah. Bye.